Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you to Compass Games Live. It's episode 56, and today's May 13th, 2021. Before we get started, really the hobby got shook up with some pretty horrible news. Found out Monday morning, so I just want to take a moment to recognize and thank Rick Barber for all he did for our hobby. As you know, Rick has done, many of you, I know Rick, probably personally from the Console World Forum, definitely from all his games that he's done. The outpouring of support, with losing Rick it's really been tough this week. It was sort of a gut punch when I found out, and I was pretty much out of it all day because got to know Rick pretty well, especially online, and his body of work is really incredible. If you think about the artistry that he introduced with all his games, especially with Clash of Arms. He's probably best known for his work with Clash of Arms, and he did his own Gettysburg game, Summer Storm, that was released. It's really amazing body of work. So I want to also thank the community. I know that Gilbert Collins on his channel was kind enough to put out a video tribute to Rick Barber, and that went out about 2 days ago. We also have another content contributor that also shared his thoughts in remembering Rick Barber this week. So again, if you get a chance, head on over to Board Game Geek and check out all the work he's done. It's a pretty amazing body of work, but this was one that really hurt because a lot of people really knew Rick. He was very active online, for sure. A lot of people knew him personally. They followed him on his battlefield. He was a great expert on Gettysburg, and he did battlefield tours. And I know a lot of Console World members had the chance to meet him and do touring with him. So yeah, I just want to take a moment to say it's really an incredible hobby to think about the people we've gotten to know, or I've gotten to know myself over the last 20 plus years. It's really something. There's some great people out there, and really going to miss Rick a lot. So just want to start by just saying, he's going to be missed horribly. And the good news is we all get to celebrate his games. And I think if I had to pick a game of his, I actually have his Summer Storm. A little story I'll share with you. When he was designing Summer Storm before it went to print from Clash of Arms, he did an overblown version. So it was about 2 to 3 times normal size with the big extra large pieces. And he was willing to sell it for a few $100s. And I actually purchased it from him personally before the game went to print. And I played it in Arizona. I lived in Arizona when I was in my 30s, and I had a game club there, and I played Summer Storm for the first time using these playtest pieces that were basically, if you know Rick's artwork, it was basically production quality artwork through and through, of course. And that's just a little something special I have. But I think if I was going to pick a game, probably something of Rick's, I would actually probably do a World War II game, because I was always interested in Shetler's system, and I really love the artwork that Rick did on Edelweiss. So Edelweiss is just a beautiful game. The maps, I don't know if you're familiar with Edelweiss from Clash of Arms, but if you look at the Board Game Geek page for Rick, it's really he's done so much incredible work that it's just it's a triple loss. It's a triple loss just across the board. But I'm trying to find out if there's going to be any need for support for a funeral. If they want a GoFundMe page. Some people have approached me asking, is anything being done as far as salvaging his work, that his work can somehow be salvaged, or in the interest of the family, does the family want to see his work still to be able to be sold off somehow? So I am reaching out to his brother and his daughter. Others might be reaching out to him already. I know some have. So so we're, again, Godspeed to Rick, and we're going to miss him. We're going to miss him a lot. So without further ado, let's get to the business at hand. As I mentioned at the onset, today is going to be sort of a special, this is actually, I think, our first big broadcast of 2021, where we're going to start getting into pre-order game announcements. Now, I want you to rest assured, this is pretty much the preamble to pre-game announcements. So looking at the schedule and going through what games we need to start getting on pre-order. We are getting ready in the next few weeks and months. We have the next issue, or the next Compass Games catalog for this year is going to be due, which means we have to get all these games on the catalog, which also means they need to be on our pre-order pages. So this is our first of many salvos tonight when it comes to pre-order game announcement. This is just the beginning, so don't feel like you haven't missed the majority of them. This is just the initial start when it comes to game pre-order announcements. You can rest assured of that. But before we go there, I do want to mention the May special offer is now available to be announced. So I'm going to announce that now. And if we go to our news page, I'll just scroll down here for our May specials. So if you click on the news link on the Compass Games webpage, and I will be sending out a newsletter tomorrow. We did a newsletter just today about tonight's broadcast, just to promote that we're doing some pre-order announcements. Tomorrow's newsletter will be like our regular weekly newsletter. We'll have all the pre-order announcements. It will mention the May specials and our Kickstarter and everything else. But yes, we have 2 games that have been selected by Bill for May. It's Stalin's World War III. You can get it for $60 instead of $89. And then we got Brezhnev's War. Another one as well for $45 instead of $69. So those are 2 specials for the month of May. Just to let you know, there's no coupon, nothing special needed on your end as far as ordering those 2 games. Just put them in your shopping cart, and they're already priced at those discounted prices. Now, what I'd also like to do is I'd like to give you all, as promised, an update on Compass Games Expo. So we do have the Expo link now on our top banner area, as you can see here. And if you scroll down, and I'll probably zoom in here, take myself out of the picture here, just so you can see a little bit better what we have, and I'll probably increase the size here just for a moment. But as we go down here and look at the page itself, we will have a special events agenda. Right now, we're just starting with it. We have Randy Heller hosting again his Bitter Woods tournament, so Battle of the Bold. So obviously that will be one of several special events we'll be hosting. I just have not filled out the special events yet, but there is a form. There is an Expo special events proposal form for those attending that would like to host a special event. You can find that link right there that I'm showing. Our attendee roster, we're off to a I'd say a fairly good start. We haven't done a heavy announcement push yet, but as you can see, we have 20 attendees already pre-registered for the events, and there you can see the names. I'm not sure why the screen is changing sizes on me like that, but there you go. There's the list of the first 20. It's alphabetical. You can see the location where they're from. We do disclose email address with each attendee's permission because that helps you coordinate with other players on what you would like to play over the course of the 4 or 5 days that we're together. We also mention what the arrival date is for each attendee when they're planning to arrive and what their gaming focus is. And of course, you can change your gaming focus. You don't have to decide right now. You'll see several here are undecided. There's plenty of time to decide. But of course, if there are certain games you definitely are interested in, it doesn't hurt to list them. And we do have some games listed now. So I'm going to scroll down here to the game sign-up sheet, just to explain how this works. So it's updated as of today. So the way the game sign-up sheet works, and it's very similar to those that have gone to Console World Expo, we ask you to pick your top 3 game choices, and then you can have up to 3 additional titles as honorable mention. And the honorable mention is really a nice way to help you network with others to see where you might find a match for those with similar interests. And we're highlighting matches for you on the web page. So as you can see here, if you see a green highlight, that just means there's an area for a game where there's at least 2 people expressing an interest in the game. Might not be all their first choice, however. So that's why the email address might come in handy. You might want to contact the person to say, hey, if you got something going early on, maybe we can play it later during the event if you're going to finish your first choice. So the idea here is if you look for the green colored rows, that's where we're going to see a list of people that have similar common gaming interests. They just have a different priority. If you see anything in blue, that will only colorize in blue if there's a match for a first game choice. So I believe right now we have 2. We have Blue Water Navy. We had at least 2 people pick that as their first choice. And then if I scroll down, we have for Korean War, the new release, Joe Bukowski's new edition that was originally released in the 80s by Victory Games. We've got also 3 people selecting that as their first choice. Now, I think it probably could work as a 3-player game, but you know what? It's very early on in signups. It could easily be a situation where there's more people that want to play Korean War. We already have Jamie Cribbs listing it as his 3rd choice, so he might like to get into a game as well. So, of course, we can have multiple table setups, and that's, again, where the players are going to help sort of coordinate and decide using those email addresses. Is it going to be 2 players per table? Is it going to be the 3 that we have here? There's going to be more people signing up. So again, I'd say it's nice just to see. I don't think any hard or fast decisions are really needed up front, although we will have those special events. I believe the Bitter Woods tournament is in boldface type because it is a special event. So it's highlighted there as a tournament, and Randy Heller, again, does a great job hosting his Bitter Woods tournament. I think we had 8 people 2 years ago, the last time we held Compass Expo. So again, and then I've provided links for every game. So if you want to see more about the game selected, just click on the link, and that will take you to the Board Game Geek listing page. The only one I wasn't able to do it for yet is Clash of Giants, because there's 4 different titles from GMT that had Clash of Giants in the name. So there's different versions. So maybe he's interested in the entire series and doesn't matter which game. As far as Thomas Schweider goes, I'll find out. I'll reach out to him. But again, you can play any games you want. I saw somebody asked earlier, it's called Compass Games Expo. So I guess that means, we have to play a Compass game, right? Not at all. Not at all. It's we're here to celebrate the hobby together. We want you to play the games you want to play. You'll see here a lot of games from different publishers, a lot from GMT. We've got from Columbia Games, Eurofront 2, for example, Fitna, Iron Curtain from MMP. Again, so the list goes on and on. We got some Hexasim titles for Waterloo, etc. World in Flames, which actually we do sell that game for Australian Design Group. So again, this is just the beginning list. So what's going to happen as you fill out that registration form, I'm going to be always updating the page. The attendee list will always grow bigger. This sign-up sheet will always populate. I'll always be adding additional game titles as new games come up. But that's basically how it works. So I hope it's pretty straightforward. If you have any questions about Expo, please definitely let me know. We want to make sure the process is easy for you. Again, this is a very similar process to Consum World Expo, which we're going to be launching. We did a early invite for Consum World Expo, which starts August 28th through September 4th, so a few months before this event. And we're almost at 100 early registrations, and we're going to limit it to 200 this year. So, and that's for safety precaution reasons. We're cutting attendance this year by at least 35%. And again, that's just to help with social distancing of tables. But that, again, is not about Compass Games Expo. I don't want to confuse anybody. That's specifically around Consum World Expo, which is obviously the event I host for Consum World. So I hope that information is helpful. Again, it's November. It's over Veterans Day weekend for Compass Games Expo. Really incredible pricing on Compass Games products. I saw a nice email today from somebody, and he talked about, I think I'm going to come to Compass Expo, and you know what? I just came into some money, and it's a perfect place to spend money because I know you guys are giving away games at Compass Game Expo that Bill does a huge discount, like 50% or more. So definitely bring a suitcase or whatever. Make sure you're armed, and we look forward to seeing you again in November. So with that, what I'd like to do is let me just check comments just for a moment to see if there's any questions here. I know there's a lot of comments about Rick Barber for sure. So yes, absolutely was just a gut punch this week. Yes, I should mention John Tiller. It was also announced on the Consum World news desk. Unfortunately, I think Rick Barber's news replaced John Tiller's news. John Tiller Software has some awesome computer games, tons of titles, Civil War, Napoleonics, a lot of World War II. I know Gregory Smith worked with John Tiller Software for several years. Several people worked with John Tiller, and a tragic loss. John Tiller, a short bout with brain cancer, which I've known one or two people, unfortunately, that have passed due to brain cancer. And a lot of you know already, so I'll just pass on. It was unexpected news about Rick Barber. He has had some health issues through the years, but it was due to onset of a heart attack, and it was a sudden loss with Rick this week. So, yeah, so we'll try to remember them in a positive way, celebrate their contributions to the hobby. Absolutely. Will the expo require masks? That's a great question, and it all depends. I'll give you really the straight, simple answer because this applies across the board. It depends on three things, Carl. It depends on the state of Connecticut, the city, the town where Meriden, the town Meriden, where it's held. The municipality will also have some regulations they can put in place as well. And then thirdly, and probably perhaps the most important, is the hotel chain itself. The hotel will have their own safety guidelines that need to be followed. The reason I know this quite well is I have this experience with Consum World Expo that we're also preparing for in August. Same situation. So it's not like there's any hard and fast decisions, to be honest, that have to be made. But what is happening is there is still a lot of hard work that goes into it because there's decisions like limiting attendance, like I've done with Consum World Expo, and there's about 5 or 6 other things we've done to restructure Consum World Expo just for safety precautionary reasons. We don't want to jump back in with 325, 350 people. That just makes no sense for this year. So a lot of steps are being taken that do fall upon me as a host, and also for Bill. Bill's going to be doing the same thing, and I'm helping Bill with Compass Expo, of course. So there are going to always be some measures that we'll look at as well, just for everybody's well-being. But to be honest, as far as any regulations and and what has to happen, just like any other event that you'll see this year. There's those three things going on besides the event host. It's the state, the city, and the hotel, the event site. And of course, the city and the state reflects any federal recommendations. So that's sort of reflected at that state city level. So that's the fun part, right? But I think the good news is things are looking, I'd say things are looking promising, let's say. And yes, maybe there might still be masks required, but I think most people are aware of that. But if things change, we'll let you know. We'll absolutely let you know about that. Let's see, off the wall question with John Butterfield's Enemy Action Car Cuff coming out soon. It got me to thinking, I was able to buy computer versions of these games from another company. What are the chances we might see both Enemy Action titles as computer games? I think the probability is low, but it's only low because we really haven't had a big push for computer games. I know sometimes there's a suitor. There's one or two companies that might approach Compass to say we want to do computer games, computerize your games. But I don't know if there's been any serious business discussions in that regard. This would obviously be a question for Bill Thomas. So what I'd like to do, Rick, is let's table this question for because this is really a question for Bill because he's the one making the business decisions around Compass, and it's important for him to hear feedback. Obviously we're all in on Vassal modules, tabletop simulator, things like that, but this is a different level, going to computer games for sure. So absolutely. Let's see here. Okay, so I think we'll come back to, I think we're good here in the questions for now. So let's go to the pre-orders. So let's start. I've got some pre-orders for you tonight. I think you're interested because we're at about 150 live viewers, and I think that's what I advertised. It was not this other stuff as much as it was about, let's find out about these pre-orders. So I'm going to pick 3, and I'm just going to start with the pay later option. There's going to be a pay now, pay later option, but what I'm going to do off screen is I'm going to turn on and activate the pay later option page, because that's usually what most people do is they want to pay later for these games. So let me go in here and I'm gonna turn on the first pre-order game. I need my drum roll sound effects to go here, obviously, but let me publish out the first game, and then what I'll do is I'll share with you, and we'll talk about, I won't go into too many details, but obviously we'll talk about the first game. So with that, let's go ahead and do that. So let's share the screen here, and the first pre-order we're here to announce is No Peace Without Honor. So really excited about this, actually. As you know, it's actually based on a ready set game system that a lot of you probably own, No Peace Without Spain. So this is just the box cover to give you an idea what the box cover looks like. There's more information on the page here. Talks about, and it can be combined, by the way. So this is a standalone game. Also, it has a mounted map. There's 3 pre-order titles I'm going to be introducing to you all tonight, and this is the one that has a mounted game map, so somewhat consistent with the other titles being 9 Years' War, No Peace Without Spain. So the idea here, this is a standalone game. You can see the description here, how the game works standalone. You can see the historical period that's covered, but you can also link this with the other 2 games to refight the entire wars for one grand campaign of Louis the 14th. So again, I think that's going to be exciting to a lot of people that you can actually link the games. That's usually the first question we get. Can you link the games? Or actually, that might be the second question. The first question is, can you solitaire, play the game solitaire? And this is card driven, so there's going to be some limited intelligence. You're going to lose a little bit with the solitaire play, but just to show you the other components. And again, you can see these components yourself if you navigate, obviously, to the web page, which is now active. Just go to the pay later area. You can see the back of the box. Back of the box is a great description, gives you a lot of information about the game. So definitely recommend looking at the back of the box. Of course, we have the game map available for you as well. Of course, it's going to fit the style. It's going to fit the mold of the other 2 games that are there as well, that have already been published, that you can link to if you decide to do a grand campaign approach with all 3 games. You can definitely do that. So this is the same motif by the same artist. And this will be a mounted game map. Playing pieces are going to get the deluxe treatment as well. I believe they have the nice rounded corners. I don't know if the artwork here will, yeah, it represents very nicely the rounded corners. So here we have, I'll try to zoom in here just a little bit here. So here we have, you can see it has those rounded corners to them. So this is how we print when we go overseas. I'm sure you're familiar with our mounted games that we do. It gets this style treatment. So I'm sure you're quite familiar with the quality of the components and the mounted map, everything that comes out of our overseas print runs. So again, this is counter sheet 1 of 2. I'll show you and this is just the front side. Of course, there's a back side. And then the back side, I do have counter sheet 2 front for you right here. So we can go ahead and show that as well. I'll go ahead and zoom in. So again, this is the front of counter sheet number 2. So really nice pieces. It's card-driven format. Again, a 2-player, best for 2 players. You can definitely do it as a study game, definitely as a single-player game. It is doable, but just keep in mind that with the cards, etc., that due to the card-driven system, we give you that little notice there that there is somewhat of a limited intelligence factor that you would just not be able to account for playing solitaire. Unless you're like me and you have a very poor memory where you can't remember what each side has for cards, and then it's not a problem at all. So again, I hope that's a thumbs up from everybody to see that we now have this available. So again, this is now available on our pay later. So you can go ahead and get No Peace Without Honor right now. Just to bookmark it, put in your pledge, and you won't be charged until the game is available to be released. So I think we're all good on that. So let's go to game number 2. So I've got 2 more for tonight. And which one do I want to throw on you next? Let's do a curveball. We're gonna change up the eras quite a bit here. So let me get this pay later going. So give me one moment to do that. And yeah, this one is going to be solitaire. This one's going to be a solitaire game. So probably some good news for you that are looking for solitaire games. We've got another pure solitaire game we're going to be talking about. So hopefully that's a thumbs up from you. And let me get this page ready for you here just for one more second here. And I think I've just about got it. So what we have here is a game, Sniper Kill Confirmed. So contemporary era, solitaire card play. A lot of you know Gregory Smith's game so well. So this is by Jay Kirkpatrick, but sort of along the lines of what Greg would do. If you're used to Greg's games, it got the play mats, solitaire design system, checking statuses, doing one or more missions, achieving, earning points, achieving to get, trade in for weapons, etc. So that's the front cover. Let you see the front cover a little bit better here. Just to zoom in on it a little bit. Again, you can see this. Again, you'll see this from Jay Kirkpatrick. This is now on the pay later for you to take a close look. But again, purely solitaire game. As you can see here, you're basically taking the role of a sniper with your spotter. And you're basically going to start on a mission. So you're going to have a set target or a set mission. The one thing I want to point out about this game is it can be very quick playing. It could just be a single mission and you're done. So you can play in a matter of a half hour to 45 minutes if you're just looking to do a single mission. But you can also do a campaign, which is a combined 10 missions all in one, which makes it quite interesting. Obviously takes the play time to 3 or 4 hours, but it gives you a good afternoon, a good weekend where you can get really deep into this situation of again, that sniper role. And that sniper role is going to be for all types of situations. So again, I want to recommend to you the back of the box. So please check out the back of the box. You'll see here the components we have. So here's an example. We are tracking status for the sniper mat. So similar to the displays you would have like in a Gregory Smith game, he uses for aircraft displays, U-boat displays. Same concept here because you're taking the persona of that sniper out on a mission. So that is the sniper mat is going to be your key component. It's not going to be just a flimsy piece of heavy cardstock paper. It's going to be a bit heavier than that. So this is a very important mat. So it's going to be heavier stock than just like a player aid card, if you will. It's not going to be mounted, like not like a mounted map, but it's going to be much, more of a heavier stock because it's going to have the most play use. But a very good description because, your missions are going to be based on different geographic locations. So it could be a jungle mission, there's desert, etc. I'll show you some of the cards. We've got some of the cards already on the website to give you sort of a sneak peek here. We've got the counters as well as far as the targets. There's a space on action cards. It's a card-driven. It's more of a purely card-driven game. So there's action cards driving the missions and the action and the targets, etc. So if I go back to the game page itself, there's a lot you can look at. So we were just looking before at the. So here's that sniper mat. The all-important sniper mat. This is your persona for gameplay purposes. This is critical for playing the game. This is going to be your main, what you're going to have on your tabletop, but it's not large in size, very small footprint. Then we have the counter sheet. Not many counters in this game. Really, this is the full counter sheet. You're not going to need a lot of markers for play. It's card driven, and you're tracking status of various things. And you are going to have the ability to gain experience points where you can trade up for weapons, ranks, things of that nature. So that's why you see different weapon types there. You can trade up in your weaponry as well in your armaments. Then definitely check out, we've got the different displays for the different situations. So again, the situation cards are going to be different based on your scenario, your mission, and your situation. So obviously a ruined city is going to have a lot different type of a situation than, say, if you're out in the desert. And there is desert. There is a sort of that Persian Gulf feel where you would have a mission there. And there's 4 basic missions. There's 4 different geographies or topographies that as the sniper you're going to have to be contending with. So here we have the other 2. We have jungle as the terrain, and then we have here finally the last one, which is countryside, more say out in the European, Latin America, South America type situation. So what we're covering here is again, it could be a very quick single mission. So again, it could be a very quick single mission that you're going to finish in less than an hour, definitely less than an hour, or you can combine it for the 10 missions as well. So definitely check out the product page. Again, it's a real pleasure. It's great to see. I think you're all interested to see, besides more quad games, I think solitaire, purely solitaire games, and something unique, some really compelling situations. I think that sort of fits this mold. Just listening to your feedback that you might want titles that are very specific on a certain role. And I know this is something that Gregory is really good at. And we're excited about working with Jake Kirkpatrick on his design. The artist, I think, has done some really great work to give you the feel of the situation. It's going to be pretty tense. Going to be a pretty tense situation based on the card play and just a mission you're going to be handed. So definitely check it out. It's now on Pay Later. You'll have the Pay Now option. I'll turn that on in a little bit. Of course, for all the games I'm introducing to you now at a later date, we'll have the designers on to talk about these games. Absolutely. As we get closer to publication, we will do that. But you can already get the idea here, I think, that what I'm showing you is completed artwork. So it goes back. There's a lot of projects at Compass that we might not talk about for months, but there's still active progress and active work being done. So you're seeing a lot of final artwork for Sniper Kill Confirmed. Same with the previous pre-order game that I just showed you as well. So that just shows you there's a lot of things going on over months and months that Bill might not mention. I think Bill just likes to mention when a game shows up in his warehouse and how many he has and when they might be released, but he doesn't talk too much about these many projects we have going on behind the scenes. And there's no pressure on the designers and the contributors. We want them to get it right and take the time they need to get the game right. So that's a little bit about that. So what I'd like to do now, I hope that's a thumbs up from everybody. I see So I see excellent graphics. Thank you. As far as sniper duels go, I don't know if there's a combined play. That would have to be obviously Persona on the other side. I mean, there's cooperative play versus competitive play. I think that's where I would have Jay Kirkpatrick mention that. I think that's covered through the target cards and the scenario situations that I think duel would probably be the right word for it, because obviously there's counter sniper fire that has to be reckoned with in most situations, and I'm sure that's the situation in the game. What I'm thinking of, what you might be meaning here, Imanity, is perhaps co-op play, more than one player, or more than one player where they play an opposing side. Probably not that so much, because again, it's very clear from the game components you're playing one side. It's a one-sided persona. You're playing that one persona, not the target side. So I don't think you would see that. But again, this is the first. This is obviously the first in what could be many titles. Especially if it does well. So I think we will definitely find out. Yes, spotters are part of the game. So your persona in the game, think of it as being almost two individuals. It's you as the sniper. You are the sniper, but in the sniper role, you're also working with that persona who's your spotter. So you do have an active spotter that's in the game that is considered during gameplay. I'll leave further details. Let's let Jay get into the further details, but check out the back of the box for more information. At some point, we'll have the rules as well, obviously. Then we'll talk to Jay and we'll ask him, you're asking great questions, but I hope this gives you a good high-level overview, especially seeing that the components are pretty far along. Obviously, the artwork's very far along here already. I hope that gives you a good idea. And there are different weapon types, and I do know from reading what I did read about the game that, the major component is the rewards in the game through experience is it's tied to weaponry types. You can upgrade and go to different weapons. And there could be skills you gain as well. Things of that nature with card play that could, like maybe one damage point doesn't take effect, things of that nature. But again, I'm getting probably deeper in the weeds here than I should. But I hope it's a thumbs up from you guys for a purely solitaire game on a pretty unique situation. So what I want to do now is I'm going to go now to the third and final pre-order for tonight, but rest assured, by no means the last pre-order you will hear from me this year. This is my warm-up act, and that's about all I can say about it. This is just the first warm-up act of these three titles. So let's do one more. So let me find the pay later for it. Let me get the page activated for you all so you can see it along with me. I'm going to publish it out. It will just take me another 5 or 10 seconds here to get it published out. And then we will go to the pay later page and I will share it with you. So yes, I think we're about ready here. So yeah, let me get it ready for you. So actually I had the privilege to meet Ken Rappel. Hopefully I'm pronouncing Ken's last name right, Rappel, I hope. I met, so we connected over emails, I believe. And of course, we have another game in this period coming out soon as well. Or actually, well, at Gilbert Collins, that's an earlier period. So, but we have this one, 1812, The Great Lakes Frontier. And Ken was actually at Compass Games Expo 2 years ago. And we went through an introduction to the game itself. So it was really exciting to be able to do that with Ken. So we do have the front box cover here. Again, you're going to see a similar situation where this started over 2 years ago, and he had worked on this game for several years. Ken had, as a designer. So a lot of work was put into the design already. And then Ken Dingley actually got involved in the project, and this project's been worked on for the past 2 years since that Compass Expo in 2019, and we're ready to bring it to you now. So it's 1812 War on the Great Lakes Frontier. It's a card-driven game, so again, think like the first title. It's going to be a two-player game. It's card-driven, so yes, solitaire. Yes, but it's best for 2 players because, again, some of those cards are going to give away certain things. So just have a short-term memory like I suffer from, and you will have no problem with solitaire play, or play it as a study. I play a lot of war games that have cards and things in them, and I play them as a study. And it doesn't really bother me that it's card driven. I'm still learning about the history that the cards bring into the game. So again, this is obviously the Great Lakes, North America, the War of 1812. It's a 2-player game, U.S. and British Empire. It's what's interesting about this one is it's not just 2 maps that you throw together to play the game. There's a lot of single map scenarios. So there's East map and the West map I'm showing here. Let me zoom in for y'all. So and I'll zoom in here further. So here we have Lake Erie. So here is one of the maps. This is obviously the West map that we have with Lake Huron. And you can see we've got some places for display cards. We got the sequence of play. A lot of scenarios are single map scenarios. So again, just to give you this definitely has a certain artistic vibe to it, by the way. If you look at this, I don't know if you get that sense with some of the artwork, some of what's been done here. Definitely a lot of attention put on the artwork, not even just in the hexes themselves, but really just in the entire area. And then we have the East map. So I'll zoom in on the East map here that you can see here as well. And again, some nice graphics along the way, along the edges and in the middle of the card. So give it a nice, I think, that period feel. We're always trying to get that period feel, that this is not a contemporary game. We want to take it back to that sort of day and age, and hopefully this accomplishes that. You can see there's different sequences of play based on what the scenario is and the time of season. So you have multiple games in terms of multiple scenarios. Some are single maps. There are several double map games. These mate together. So these 2 map sheets, yes, they mate together perfectly. So they'll come together as one map, absolutely, as far as the overlay. So you can play it as a single large map with both East and West together. But both maps definitely stand alone. There's standalone scenarios, quicker playing, lets you get into the game system. That's a great way to start to learn the system. Just pick one of the smaller scenarios, and there's a lot of scenarios. I believe it's mentioned on the product page. I haven't put it to memory yet, but you're going to find a lot of scenarios to the game. This one has over 200 game cards, by the way. So this is one of the few titles from Compass that has over 200 game cards. So there's a lot of history packed in with the different types of cards. I just put up one display just as an example. So here's one sample card display for you to see that I'll zoom in on here. So there's many different scenarios. This is just the reinforcement order of arrival card or display for several of the scenarios. So this gives you, I'm going to show you the counters here in a moment, but this gives you an idea, again, of the artistry of the displays, the fit the period feel, to give you an idea. But again, you're going to see all types of displays, obviously, for the game. I just want to pick this reinforcement display. I thought this would be a good representation for the product page. The counters themselves, I've got several sheets of counters here that I can show you. So again, I'll zoom in again on the counters to give you an idea. So again, now these are proof. So these are counter sheets that are getting proofed. So obviously you're going to see these blue lines or this yellow line. These are just the hatch patterns, and these are the guidelines that the artist uses while they're doing the artwork. So obviously this is not final artwork because all those blue outlines around each of the counters goes away. The yellow symbol to check the color matching goes away. So all the blue, all that obviously goes away. But this will give you a sense, I hope, of the pieces for the game. Yes, there's another counter sheet here. So let me zoom in on that one to share with you, and I'll zoom in all the way. So again, just to give you a flavor, just want to give you a good flavor of the game. So, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with this design. Have a lot of you heard about this design, or is this the first time you've heard about 1812? So again, this game, I believe it's been out there on YouTube perhaps a little bit, and I know the design has been worked on, and it's been out there. I believe there might be, I'm not sure if there's a vassal module. I'm not 100% sure on that. I believe there is. So I think so some of you might be aware of this game already, so I'm just curious how many of you might be aware of 1812 War of the Great Lakes Frontier. Again, this is it's really exciting for us to work with new designers. So we're always looking to find new talent, and it's a pleasure working with everybody, honestly, depending on the project. You have veteran designers like the John Butterfields, etc., Gregory Smith. But Ken Rappel, I'm not sure, to be honest, if he's done a lot of other published designs already or not, but this has been his labor of love, covering this historical period. It's going to be a really interesting designer interview when we get there, because he's really an expert in this area. Again, there's a lot of scenarios. I believe it's mentioned here. Yes, it's mentioned in the product page. There's 5 single map scenarios. There's 6 2-map scenarios as well, including the full campaign. So a lot of versatility. And then again, I think the good news here is you can check out all the artwork. The majority of the art is up there. Of course, there's a lot more displays. I don't have yet the game cards pictured here. Actually all the games, there's game cards for all the games. I'm going to be working on getting some sample game cards posted here in the near future. So definitely going to be planning to do that. So if we look at our pre-order pay laters here, just for a second, just to do sort of a rewind, let's just see if we can go back here. So if we take a moment here, and let me see if I can actually zoom in just a little bit more, maybe not too much. So just to recap, here you see, and again, I'll get the pay nows up as well for those that want to pay up front. But these are our 3 pre-orders that we're really pleased to be able to announce today. Again, to start with, let's start with 1812, the one we were just talking about. So again, best for 2 players. You can definitely play it solitaire. There's some card-driven components. There's 200 cards. It's not going to ruin the game for you solitaire. It's just there's going to be a certain level of limited intelligence. Obviously, you're all familiar with that already. But we put solitaire play at a medium because I think a lot of you are fine with that as well as far as card play goes. So this one will have 5 single map scenarios and then the 6 2-map scenarios, 2 maps coming together, and then the full campaign game as well, which can run over I think 10 or 12 hours easy. So it could be quite a big extended game, which I think people love to see in a campaign. No Peace Without Honor. Don't have to say too much about that, except for it does mate with those 2 other games as well. If that's something you want to do the deluxe treatment, but this one does have the mounted map treatment. So this is the one game of the 3 that will have a mounted game map. You saw those counters with the rounded edges that gets done overseas when we do our overseas print run. So I think you know pretty well what that production quality is going to look like. And then I hope this was a nice surprise for some of you, was a pure solitaire-driven game, card play game, somewhat in the vein of Gregory Smith. But again, Jay Kirkpatrick has obviously his own completely own game design behind this, which I think you'll find compelling. All 3 games, you saw all the artwork, except for the cards. And the card artwork is pretty much done. I just haven't had a chance to prep the artwork to get it on the webpage yet. But yes, the card artwork for these 3 games is pretty much done as well. So we're really excited to be getting these games closer to the production pipeline. I hope those interest you. And with that, let's see if there's any questions we want to close with tonight. Let's see. And again, I'm going to bring the designers in. Haven't heard about this one. Great. So I'm glad we could hopefully surprise you. I don't know if you heard about Sniper Kill Confirmed before earlier. We may have mentioned it in a town hall previously. I think a lot of you probably knew. I think most of you knew about No Peace Without Honor, because that game, I think several of you asked about that. So I think that's the one probably that everybody knew about most, was No Peace Without Honor. Let's see. Kharkov, Enemy Action Kharkov. We were talking about it last town hall meeting last week, where the final rule booklet, I think I shared the rule booklets either last week or the week before. I shared all 3 rule booklets. That was actually 2 weeks ago. So if you go to our Compass Games Live episode 52, you'll see all the rule booklets for Enemy Action Kharkov. So that one's pretty much in the final phase of getting ready to prep everything to go to the printer. So this is like our last chance to make sure we catch any potential error. So we always want to we have a lot of outside proofers, which is great, which helps a lot. Imanity, thank you for pre-ordering. Love at first sight. Awesome. Happy to hear that. Let's see. I saw the prototype. Yeah. So this is about 1812. Yes. Ken attended, was nice enough to come down with his design to Compass Expo 2019, where he showed the prototype, and Ken Dingley actually sat down, played the game with Ken a little bit, Kevin. So that works out really well when we can play the game a little bit face to face. Now it's really special to play anything face-to-face, so we're looking forward to that again. I wonder if the part of a series which might include the land campaign don't want to put the cart before the horse. Not sure if this is talking about, I want to say, this is 1812 question or not, but we can save that for the designer. Let's see. I already posed limited intelligence. That means I'll have a head start. Yeah, that's me. My brain is limited intelligence as it is. So absolutely. World War I Ace, we don't really have an update on that. Artwork has not stopped. I can go to the project site and every other day I see new artwork, but yeah, it's Greg's biggest project by far. I think we're down to the final. Greg might be here. Greg mentioned last week when I checked the project site that it sounds like we're getting very close to proofing the entire counter sheet. So that's sort of where we are. Like all the individual counter artwork getting done is pretty much wrapping up, and Greg's thinking he can proof the entire counter sheet with all the counters on it. Looking good so far in Compass releases. Thanks, Mo. Appreciate it. Doomsday Part 2. Yeah, hopefully you saw Doomsday Part 2. That is now available for pre-order. We had a snafu, which was my fault with the pay later. The pay later is now working. You will not be charged by accident. That was my mistake with the configuration that got fixed. I think Roma Victrix, I'm looking to get the designer on. Somebody was asking on the Console World forum, can we get a designer interview for Roma Victrix? So it's duly noted, definitely. Working on the Vassal module for Galicia. I'm looking to assign somebody for that. So if somebody wants to volunteer, the person I use right now typically is busy with 2 other projects right now. So I do not have anybody assigned to Galicia. So if anybody out there is good with Vassal, send me an email, please. Let's see. 3W, yes, the Third World War series. The great question. So the standard rule booklet. So just to revisit Third World War series being all 4 games in the box. So just to revisit, the 2 final components we need to go to print are the rule booklet and the playbook. The rule booklet's done. So the rule booklet went through many proofing rounds, including a few external proofing rounds by our able-bodied proofreader volunteers. So the rule booklet is done, except for I have to add a rules index to it, which I can't start till the playbook's done. So the playbook right now is going out to outside proofers. The project team finished all the final edits they needed to the playbook. That was all submitted to Ken Dingley, who does the rules layout, and Ken responded back with the updated playbook. So probably if tomorrow morning, I'll be sending out the playbook. I actually posted on the project site for all the outside proofers, get ready. The playbook's coming. It's going to be coming by end of the week. So tomorrow I'm going to be, for the first time, our external proofreaders, for the very first time, will be proofing the laid out playbook. So once that goes through, we give it at least 2 to 3 weeks minimum for the playbook for quality control reasons. So let's just call it through end of May for the playbook. And then at that point, we're just wrapping up and getting everything off to the printers. So we should be able to get, we should be seeing, you should be hearing from me, the Third World War series is off to the printers in June. And that will be the answer on that one. Let's see. The devil grabbing my credit card. I hate it when that happens. Let's see. Other Battle for Germany 85. I know if this is the Ken Dingley project. I'm sorry, not Ken Dingley. Adam Starkweather. I misspoke. So Adam Starkweather has projects going on for Berlin 85. I'll have to ask him to get an update on that one. Yeah, Belmont, one of many of Rick's awesome maps for sure. Absolutely. No question about that. Thanks for the thumbs up on 1812. Looking interesting. No new news on Combat Volume 2. We're looking for it later this year. We talked about 3W, Third World War series already. So we did good on there. Flanks of Gettysburg is slated for later this year. So that will be a release this year. That won't be 2022, is my understanding. Okay, let's see here. What about the Korean missile line counters? Yes, what happened was we printed counters. The thinner counters were printed a year before, and Bill wanted to go to a new supplier for thicker counters, and obviously the quality control from the printer just didn't pan out. We don't use that supplier. It was a one-time shot with that printer with the thicker counters, and we're not using them for, if you've seen Galicia and games like that, Paper Wars, those have those thicker counters that are shrink wrapped. That's the actual printer we settled upon. The Korean War printer didn't make the grade, obviously. So we have new counter sheets available that don't have any really alignment issues at all. They're just the typical counter sheets that we have in stock that would have been for any Compass game as of, say, any Compass games as of 6 months ago. So that's what we have available for Korean War. So so if anybody's looking and they'd like to get replacement counter sheets, you can get a quantity of those counter sheets that are based on the stock of card stock we used for the last few years, I'd say, as of a few months ago. I think we've only had 2 or 3 games come out with the thicker counters. So basically anything done domestically, that's what the replacement Korean War counters look like. Okay, let me know for email me at john@compassgames if you can for Vassal for Galicia. That sounds good. Release date, American Tank Ace will be end of this year for a release date. So we're doing the displays right now, which I showed 2 weeks ago. So look at Compass Games Live episode 55, and you'll see we show some of the display. Actually, episode 54 showed a little bit on American Tank Ace, and 2 weeks ago in episode 55, I showed for the first time the tank display, which have all been worked on. So we're looking at end of the year, definitely like winter season for American Tank Ace. Let's see. Need a spell check on the reinforcement page. Okay, we can easily fix that. So that's not a problem. We just got the artwork on the website, so no problem at all. We can definitely. I think that was reported by email. Actually, I think I saw email about that. So I'll double check that. Vassal module for Battle of Armageddon. Yes, we need one. So I will double check the status of that. Great to see War of the Wind. That one's sold out. I believe we were running out of that one. I think that one might be one of the titles we sold out of, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Bill mentioned in the last town hall meeting last week, Sea Power in the State, etc. So definitely we can revisit that one next week with Bill. But Bill did talk about Sea Power in the State. We had a question on that last week. Carrier Battle Philippines, again, looking at by end of the year. Any word on Death in the Trenches? Bill hates that question. So he's hoping by end of the year. There's always been a few issues here or there with the game production. So yeah, it's just a matter of getting everything, all our ducks in a row. So that's really going to be a good question I'll hold for Bill, since he's on top of Death in the Trenches. That's not a project I'm directly involved in. I am involved in Air and Armor. So Air and Armor is pretty much gone through final playtesting now. So right now we're getting ready to do the rule booklet layout. That's going to be the next phase for Air and Armor. Obviously, we have NATO coming out fairly soon. So NATO's coming out in June next month. So right now, what the plan is Bruce Maxwell's really focused on getting Air and Armor wrapped up so we can get it to the printer by the time that NATO is shipping. Because once NATO ships, I'm sure he wants to be focused and have some available bandwidth to support NATO as well. Manassas, we just got the maps updated last week. So what happened was Rick, who's the designer, he reviewed the map, and terrain features have to go through entire hex sides, and for on the map in several areas, it was a little bit questionable how the terrain was covering over the hex the hex lines. So we had to do some fixing of the maps, and right now we're moving on to the counter sheets on that one. NATO is going to be released next month in June. What Mo said about Korean War counters, Kaiser's War. We've taken longer to get other projects wrapped up, but the plan is to get into artwork production for Kaiser's War later this month. So the design is done. It's now a matter of getting the artwork started. But yeah, NATO ships in June. Covered that. Very good. Let's see. Thanks for the kind words, Jack, about Brotherhood and Unity counter sheets. I think everybody likes the thicker counters. If you have Paper Wars 97, I think we've had one other box game with the new printer we use for everything with the thicker counters that everybody really likes it a lot as well, I believe. Let's see here. Yeah, these aren't super old counters, to be honest. So like every Compass game up to just a few months ago used these counter sheets, Shin. So this is the same counter sheet used for over 100 Compass game titles. It's just as we made a transition to the newer, thicker counter sheets, we obviously had that transition period did not work out with that one printer for this one project. So this is the same counter sheet as we have for over 100 Compass game titles. So I don't think, I think it's disappointing that we don't have the new printer, but again, it's absolutely valid. I mean, over 100 games, nobody's screaming about the counters for 100 titles from Compass Games. So, maybe down the road, Bill will make a business decision, but my perspective, we've got 100 games using the same counter sheet, and we're just got 2 or 3 games out with the new counter sheet. So we're really in a transition. Crusader is held up due to Hitler's Last Gamble, Matt. So the artist is working on Hitler's Last Gamble with Danny Parker. He's working on the displays right now. The plan is to make an abrupt 180 and start work, or not start work, but return to work on Crusader. If we really see long delays, however, I'll talk to Bill. Maybe it's a matter we have to get a different artist involved just so it doesn't have to sit. It just depends what it looks like for Hitler's Last Gamble. We're trying to get it through. Thanks for the email about the Vassal module, Board Game Bloke. I appreciate it. No problem. Any news on Russia 44? We might be getting close, so I think you know the story on this one, Jonathan. If not, I'll fill you all in. And that is Mark Herman started the design using hard paper research notes, and they were left on the East Coast, and he's been West Coast, and he's been planted on the West Coast because of COVID travel restrictions and just wanting to obviously not have to travel if he doesn't have to. So Mark Herman's been enjoying life on the West Coast. At some point, he's going to return to the East Coast, and at his residence on the East Coast, he needs to get personal access himself to the files. So I hope the situation, I hope in the months ahead, I hope, I'm sure Mark wants to travel back east at some point. It's been really hard on him and the family, I'm sure, but we want him to be safe. So it's just a matter when Mark can safely travel back east, then we should have a chance to get to Russia 44. Let's see here. Hi, Milan from on. Okay, well, thank you so much. Appreciate it so much. Russian quad game. Yes, I showed that. If you're asking about Eastern Front operational battles, I showed that 2 weeks ago. So check out Compass Games Live episode 55. I showed the maps, showed the counter sheets, talked about the game a little bit. So Brian, if you didn't have a chance to catch that episode 2 weeks ago, please check out if you're asking about, I think that's the game you're asking about, but we did show the maps and the counters. We're still working on final touches to the map and counter sheets. They're still getting proofed by John Thiessen, the designer, but we're definitely getting there. Let's lay off a bit on the pre-orders. I want to retire soon. Okay. I don't know if I can actually promise that because there's a lot of pre-orders coming up actually. So I don't know. Yeah, the new St. Lo counters, this was done by Jack Green with a Chinese printer. Just so you know, Quarter Deck International worked with Joe Bukowski to reprint, to do that edition of St. Lo. So it's got those nice rounded counters. I definitely recommend pick up St. Lo. I think the price is really good actually for that game. So yeah, definitely something to consider if you're interested. Also, Greg's looking for some play testers for his spring Prelude game, VCS Kharkov. So shoot him a note here in the chat comments or email me if you're interested, and I'll connect you with Greg, and we'd love to do that. Engage and Destroy, we'll have to ask Bill about that. I think he mentioned it last episode. I don't believe there was a big update on that one at all. So Mo's weighing in on the thin counters. Yeah, some people might not think they're great, but we've had them for over 100 games. So I hope they don't totally suck, because that means over 100 games would totally suck. So I'm hoping we cross that threshold. Yeah, they're a little thinner, maybe. Yeah, like the other 100 games probably. Yeah, the shrink wrapped ones. That's the counter. That's the new printer we've now gone to. We've done it for 2 or 3 games so far, and then all these games coming out. Obviously, we'll have this. Fall of Tobruk will be this year, 2021. It's doing final proofing. Should have actually gone to the printers this week. So I will check back in with Chris just to do final checkoffs on that. But yeah, we've had outside proofers on Fallout Tobruk already. I hope you enjoyed the designer interview we did with Chris. He did a great job. I think he got a lot of interest. Also, Shane's artwork drew a lot of interest. What Shane showed was pretty awesome. So this game's pretty much going to go to the printers this month, I believe. African campaign, it's with the printers, so it's getting produced right now. That's a deluxe edition, by the way. So it's going to have a mounted game map, has all the fixes to the rules. The rules are updated. The map sheet has a fix. There were two. This was my project, so I remember. There were two mistakes on the game turn record track with what allied reinforcements are not supposed to come in when they say they are. So we fixed all that stuff. So yes, this will have the errata all worked in. It's a new edition, mounted edition for African campaign. So that will be out later this year. Russian campaign. So that is in the basement. That is in Bill's basement. So my hope is we will see it like June 22nd. That is what I'm shooting for. I would like to have Russian campaign for me and my son on June 22nd. So that's my hope. I don't know. I'm politicking for that, but I don't know if I'll have much luck. I'll need you guys to back me on that one with Bill during a town hall session. Carrier War Philippine Sea, the artwork's being worked on there. I know that. I don't have an exact status on that one. I'll check in with Bill, so for next week we can give you an updated status on that for sure. I know we were shooting for this year for that game, for sure. So absolutely. Shoots Troopa, really good news on Shoots Troopa. So I'm really happy to share the news that part of the development of the game required a lot of changes to the map. I think we've really improved the design of Dennis Bishop. It was work we were already doing with Dennis Bishop. Artist has become available, and Tim Allen is working on updating the game map. And then the development of the game has gone through some additional play testing. It will continue to go through another round of play testing. So this one's looking real solid. The rules draft, I think, is real solid now to the point. We'll look at final playtest comments coming up. We'll get some outside proofers involved. So this one is back. Let's say this one's back on the runway. Which we're really excited about because unfortunately we lost Dennis this year. Another great contributor to the hobby. We lost Dennis this year, so we're going to be very happy. I'll be very happy to get this game released. Let's see. Okay. If that's true, well, I'll find out. I didn't know Mark was back in New York. I've seen some interviews done with Mark that were rebroadcast from like 1 or 2 years ago, or 2 years ago. So maybe so. I don't know. I know Mark would probably tell me if he was back east because he's aware of the project and he wanted to get working on it. So I'll definitely find out about that for sure. Let's see. Did anyone get the replacement counters for Korean War? If so, how are they? I'll let others speak for themselves. I think they're on Facebook, Console World Forum, Board Game Geek, etc. So I don't want to speak for customers, but the way you would ask for them is you'd want to send an email to sales@compassgames.com. That's really important. So for anything regarding order status or changes to order or customer service, anything like that, you want to send an email to sales@compassgames.com. All right, Bill's looking for Stellar Horizon players. Love it. How does NATO game compare to Starkweather's Fold a Gap or Doomsday series? The game scale is a lot different. So it's a larger game scale, operational level, bordering on strategic. Yeah, it's more operational level with Bruce Howland's game. So larger formation sizes, etc. So Adam's going to have like the multiple map treatments to his games, whereas NATO is like 2 maps total for all of Europe. So the game scale, it's a larger map scale, probably by a factor of 2 at least. So, or 3, a factor of 3. So definitely more operational, strategic level. Let's see here. Hopefully Bill got the rant out of his system last week. He cut loose. That is very true. I do not know how next week is going to go. We're going to have to see that. I don't have an update on Bell Tower right now, but I might have an update on Bell Tower later this year. So stay tuned on that one. Oh, there's some really interesting updates that might be coming soon, actually. So I'm going to hold off on those kind of updates till Bill is around. So we'll definitely hold off on that. Yeah, for Korean War, we'll definitely do a vassal module for Korean War. So that will be, we'll do that for every game. It's just a matter of aligning resources to do the vassal modules for the game. So for every Compass game, our goal is to have a vassal module. That's done for sure. Absolutely. Let's see here. I know Mo did so Mo can speak really well of NATO because Mo did he taped multiple hours of a play session with Bruce Maxwell, the designer, as a tutorial for NATO. So if you go to Mo's game table, you can catch a really nice, it's not hours long, it's compacted. It's about an hour in length, I think, total around thereabouts. But it's a game tutorial on NATO. So Mo can definitely speak well of it. And then when NATO ships in June, we're going to have Bruce Maxwell back on as a capstone designer interview as the game is shipping. We'll do like an unwrap party when everybody has the game. Absolutely. We'll do like an unwrap party. So let me just go through final comments here because I know I've held you past an hour. Let's see here. France 44, okay, really happy to hear that, Jonathan. Yeah, we try to do that. We try to do the best we can with all these new editions of games, and Mark definitely wanted to take another swing of the bat with the combat system and positioning the combat system, which I think he did a great job with the custom combat dice, just going to a different system there. I think everybody agreed that was the right move there to do that. So, yeah, we're really pleased with how France 44 came out. So I'm definitely interested in Russia 44 like everybody else is. Prelude to Revolution is going to be ready for an artist very soon. It's pretty much wrapped up. I think on the project site, they're just tinkering with some last moment changes before it goes to the artist. So I believe Ken Dingley actually is going to be in charge of that project as far as the artwork goes. Ken did spend some time with the game at Compass Games Expo 2019. So he's just a natural fit as well to help see the project through. So he'll be working with Mike Wilner and then getting that artist lined up so Prelude to Revolution should be going to an artist in the next 2 months, I would say. Defending America, I think Bill mentioned last week's on our schedule to be released. Definitely this summer. I'd have to check our website. I'd have to scroll back to our website because I can't recall if it was on our front page as far as our release schedule. Nope, it's scheduled for release in June. So it's on our release schedule on our homepage. So it's going to be the last release for June. I thought it was on there. Yep, absolutely. Yes, check out Mo's video on NATO when you get a chance, please. Let's see if any playtesters are interested on the Vienna 1866 sequel is in the works. All right, there we go. Awesome. That sounds good. And let's see, a lot of comments. Great. A lot of great comments coming in here. Let me just, I'm trying not to miss any. Will there be a game 3 after South China Sea and Indian Ocean region? That I do not know. That's a great question. I'll have to ask Bill. Our hope is there is a third game between you and me. I think the game South China Sea was a huge success. People really liked the game. I expect the same from Indian Ocean region. So it's when I say I'm not sure. What I mean by that is we definitely know when we want to do a third or fourth game of a series. This qualifies. I just don't know what the status of the designer is as far as picking the third topic. So from our side, you should definitely expect to see a third release. It's just a matter of the inner workings. I don't know what the third release, what the topic's going to be yet. Victory at Sea, I believe, is in Bill's basement already. So that might be another one of these basement games or shortly arriving in his basement. So what has to happen here is, as Bill talked about, if you can catch Bill's town hall from last week, he talks about, we have to sort of stagger release games because we can't release too many games at once. It just sort of messes things up. So Bill sort of makes that executive decision on what games he wants to release when. So that's why I like to pick dates. So like, for example, we've got War for Independence game coming for release. That's why I'd like to see that one released on July 4th, like a lot of people are saying, from Gilbert Collins. And then there's Russia Campaign. I'd love to see that released on June 22nd to tie to the invasion date. So I always try to pick on dates for that. Call up Jim Dunnigan and have him make a game for Compass. Yeah, boy, I don't know what Jim Dunnigan's up to these days, but I hope he's enjoying retirement. You can catch some of his, he's been on video, or actually he's done some podcasts in the last few months. You could do a search on Consum World News Desk and find some podcast videos from Jim Dunnigan from the past few months. Let's see. Here's an update, I think, on this. It's probably on. Let me see. Oh, this is on American Tank Ace. So Greg's giving an update on American Tank Ace. I'm just sharing this because not everybody's on Facebook. A lot of people are on YouTube joining in right now. So yeah, we're looking to get the game done and released this year. Mo's NATO coverage runs under an hour. Let's see. Not many board meetings happening lately, John. Looking forward to one of Bill's impromptu meetings. Yes. Bill does, if you're not familiar with Bill, if you haven't caught his town halls, we will do business meetings with you guys. We will talk business. We're pretty transparent about everything. So we try to be honest and we also try to be honest when we're giving answers we know might not be very popular. So maybe the response I gave on the thin counter sheets may have been overly blunt and harsh, but we try to always be straight shooter with you guys, even if it risks us not falling in line with what you might want to hear all the time. But we want to be honest and truthful with what we think is happening. Let's see. How about State of Siege games and the topic of running a war game publishing company? I don't know what game system. I think the game system needs to be like Gregory Smith would do, that you gain experience points with game designs. And then as games have issues like a map errata, which Bill hates, or something with the counter alignments, or errata, or, I think there has to be I think maybe Greg can come up with a system that you get veteran status points. You learn how to put more energy towards putting more volunteers into proofing. Outside proofing, there's all kinds of stuff involved there you can probably do. So yeah, I'll leave that one to Greg for design, I think. Let's see, would love, we have a science fiction based war game coming. I'm going to get the title wrong. I want to say it's Galactic Empires, but there is a very cool looking science fiction game that we're working on right now. It won't be released this year. But it's really cool. And of course, you all know about Stellar Horizons already. Carrier Battle will be released later this year. Yeah, maybe Dead Sea region for a topic. Why not, right? Blue Water Navy Pacific is going to be coming pretty soon, actually. So Blue Water Navy Pacific is just off the schedule, actually. So let's call it around August timeframe. And that means it might be sooner. And again, I always have to defer to Bill, but I know Bill wants to get Blue Water Navy Pacific out with Blue Water Navy reprint. So he likes to pair them up. So it's going to be a matter of Bill wanting to combine them and getting them both at the same time. If you notice our Kickstarter right now, we have going for the War of the Pacific. We've had a really successful Kickstarter because people see you can get the War Europe and the expansion kit, everything at once. And the war is out of print, so it's going to come back basically. So they're all coming together as a package deal. So obviously package deals, a lot of people are really interested in package deals in case they missed it. So that's why my thinking is Bill's going to make decisions as far as timing goes, where Blue Water Navy reprint is available when Blue Navy Pacific comes out. But we'll see what happens there. Okay, I know Bill blew a gasket though. Bill, I don't know if he's blowing a gasket. He's just very transparent and very, what's the word I'm looking for? Everything, his emotions are on his sleeve, and he's very impassioned about, he loves being a game publisher. He loves being committed to it, and it's a sort of his blood, sweat, and tears. It's a family business. He's doing it to pass it on to Billy, his son. So I'm sure that drives a lot of it, where he wants to do good there as well. So I think as a family-owned business, you've always got that inner motivation. And like if I was doing something for my son as a business, I'm sure you'd have that certain added oomph behind it. So for sure. I think Greg was going to do a game on storming the Compass warehouse, since Bill mentioned he's got 13 unreleased games in there. It's for full disclosure for those that missed the town hall last week. Yes, he has a lot of good games in the warehouse we're going to have coming out later. Let's see here. So no, it looks good. So thanks everybody so much. I think I've held you over too long. So I want to thank you so much again. I hope you were pleased with the 3 new pre-order announcements we made tonight. So again, as you see here, we've got 1812, No Peace Without Honor, and Sniper Kill confirmed. Just a nice overview to start. We can't spend too much time, else we can't get through all our pre-orders in the hour, and we already went way over the hour as it is. So I hope some of these titles will interest you. We'll have future sessions of Compass Games Live. We'll be doing additional pre-orders, and I'll be sure to let you know when we do that. Also, we'll sprinkle in some designer interviews in the future, because I know you guys do not want to get stuck just with me. That is torture, and I don't want to do that to you. So absolutely want to thank you guys so much again. Again, if you are thinking of doing some face-to-face play in November, Compass Games Expo is coming up. We've got 20 people signed up already. If you're extra brave, like I mentioned, if you're out in the West Coast or Central area, we've got Consum World Expo as well. A lot of people go to both. So Consum World Expo is end of August. So I hope you might consider that as well. But no, it's been great. It's been great catching up with you all. So next Thursday, May 20th will be our town hall meeting with Bill. You asked a lot of great questions, some of which I couldn't answer directly, which Bill can answer directly for you. So let's plan to ask some of these questions next week for sure. And again, just want to thank you guys so much for being here with us. Glad I could present to you some new pre-order titles. Hope you're looking forward to them. Want to wish you a good week. And again, a moment's thought and good blessings and memories to John Tiller and Rick Barber. Horrible losses for our hobby, horrible personal losses for many of us. But let's try to celebrate the work they've done. If you pull up a computer game, pull up a John Tiller software game, please. If you pull out a board game, you won't have too much trouble finding a beautiful map and game by Rick Barber. So again, John Tiller and Rick Barber, Godspeed, and we're going to miss you. Good night, everybody.